Greetings everyone, my name is Rejnols, and today we are playing with another new leader from the Shadows of the Galaxy expansion. This time it is Rey. Now Rey was one of my favorite leaders upon release because I just really like the give experience mechanic, and I tried a bunch of different variations with her. I tried a cunning version where you're trying to use the specters like Chopper, Kanan, and Ezra, while also having some hand disruption with Spark of Rebellion and cunning and all those things. But that didn't quite really work out very well for me. I tried a double Vigilance Rey where you get Bendu played, so when Bendu attacks you get a discount on playing Vigilance, so you play Vigilance for just 2 resources. That didn't quite do the trick either. I tried a Rey Green with like EZL and all the new Restore cards. That didn't quite do the trick either, so honestly I was kind of like, is Rey just one of those leaders that is going to be good in maybe draft? Or sealed, and then, you know, later down the line when more cards come out, then maybe she becomes a proper deck. But it might turn out that Rey is actually a really strong leader right off the bat. However, I cannot claim any of that is due to me, myself, but rather because of Thorrk, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, and his Rey Red deck. Now, I am going to go through the deck myself, and also do a few matches in this video. However, if you want to, and you should, go ahead and check out Thorrk's YouTube channel and watch his video on it. It's this one right here, 6 more competitive list for Shadow of the Galaxy. Thorrk is probably the person I go to the most when I look at list and be like, oh, this leader, how does this leader work, you know, in a competitive setting? Well, what makes it work? His Red Palpatine deck is something that I brought to a store showdown and I got 2nd place with it. I think I did modify it a little bit, and the deck I'm playing today is also slightly modified to my own likings, but in general I think Thorrk is just a good player, or at the very least a good theory crafter and deck builder. So yeah, definitely go check him out if you don't already know about him. Anyways, back to the deck. Once again, clarifying, I didn't build this one. I slightly modified a few cards, but that's about it. So what is the idea behind this deck? Well, as you can see, we're not just playing a bunch of low-cost units and buffing them up with Rey's ability, and you might be thinking, well, in that case, why not just play, you know, Chirrut or Luke or some other heroic Vigilance leader? Well, part of it is actually because of Rey's ability. Giving that experience token to certain units in the early game really means they can stick around for a lot longer, and also become a lot harder for your opponent to remove. R2-D2 is a turn 1 play, becoming a 2-5. There is no 2-5s for 2 in the game, and he also has the upside of letting you figure out what you're drawing next turn, or if you don't like what you're about to draw next turn, you can put it at the bottom. Regional Governor is probably one of those cards that is going to be strong every single expansion, because when a new set comes out, there's going to be some very clear, powerful cards, and Regional Governor just says, you can't play those while I'm on the field, and therefore Regional Governor will always be a good card when a new set comes out. Granted, you do of course need to know what those powerful cards are so you can name them and make sure your opponent doesn't play them. But yeah, with Rey's ability, she also becomes a 2-5, granted not on the turn you play her if you play her on turn 1, but that also makes her harder to remove. Green Wing Squadron so all of a sudden becomes a 3-5 with 2 experience tokens that hits for 5, so essentially a 5-5. Sabine Wren with her ping ability can sometimes trade into unit for 3, and other times she just punches above her weight class, right? There's a lot more 2-3 units in the game now, Clone Deserter, the various bounty cards, it's like a 1 cost 2-3 with a bounty, and she trades up into those guys because she actually deals 3 damage when she is attacking, and she's a great target for those experience tokens as well. Yoda is a bit of card draw and restore, and the Concord Dawn Interceptors is just a really good space blockade, which is pretty needed in this deck because we don't actually have that many space units. We have the Green Squadron A-Wings, the Dawn Interceptors, and Redemption, and that's really it. The rest comes down to removal cards. So being able to buff up those cards in the early game really helps you make it to the mid and late game where you can start doing the fun things this deck wants to do, which is discarding every single card your opponent draws. Well, not exactly, but we're playing a bunch of various discard cards, such as Force Throw, Pillage, and Poe Dameron. Discarding cards is already something we're seeing a decent amount in the game right now. In set 1, we had a lot of Cunning decks with Spark of Rebellion, with the Cunning card itself. So this is kind of just another take on it with some other cards. Red has gotten more support for it. Of course, we already had Forced Throw and Forced Surrender, which is in the sideboard, but now there's also Pillage, there's also Poe and I kind of just see Pillage, honestly, as a better version of Forced Surrender. Yes, you don't get to draw 2 cards yourself, but you also don't need to attack the opponent's base, and it costs 2 resources less. Poe Dameron's ability is a bit more niche, obviously, because sometimes you don't have a card in hand you want to throw away, but other times you have, like, you know, an R2-D2 or whatever that you don't really need when you're at 5 resources or 6 resources, whatever it is, and you might as well discard that to make your opponent discard a card or deal 2 damage to something, whatever it may be. You have K2SO, which is also a card that exists right now, and most people use them in aggro decks to deal 3 damage, and that is totally viable in this deck as well, but you can also just make your opponent discard a card. The thing about discarding cards is that it becomes more valuable the later into the game we are, right? Because discarding 2 cards at 4 resources is probably not going to do a whole lot for you. Discarding 2 cards when you're at 8 resources and both players have maybe like 3 cards in hand, however, that's a big deal. And that is kind of what this deck sets out to do, right? You have these chunky, high health units for the early game that trade up and stick around. Then mid game you have some, what I just say, value units. Kanan is healing and discarding. K2, Overwhelm, discarding. Poe Dameron, well statted, 5/6/6, can discard. Obi-Wan, a decently big sentinel that gives out experience tokens, making other things bigger. Luke Skywalker is just a big unit in himself. He also restores, and he's also removal on the turn he comes out. Redemption is a bit of a stall, right? You know, you heal your base, you heal a unit, it puts up a sentinel block. And then we have a single Crate Dragon for those games where we go really late and we just need that little bit more of damage on the opponent's base and or removing a certain unit. And yeah, from the games that I've tested, all of these things just come together really well. We pair it with Tarkin Town because while our units in the early game are pretty chunky in terms of health, they are sometimes a little bit lacking in the damage department, but Tarkin Town can make up for that once per game. Oh, and then there's Rey herself, right? She deploys as a 2/6, not great. On attack, she becomes a 3/7, still like but then she has Restore 3, and Restore 3 is just a pretty damn powerful ability, because if she gets to attack, 2 times, you heal 6. That's 2 turns of being hit by a Green Squadron A-Wing, or 2 times K2SO triggering his Steel 3 damage effect. It's a pretty decent amount of healing, and they need to deal with it, right? But obviously, Rey is not the biggest threat in this deck, so if they're spending time dealing with Rey, well, we have those other things coming down. We're discarding cards from their hand, making it harder for them to play the game. And all in all, I've just been really, really enjoying this deck. So, the few adjustments I've made from Thorrk's version, it's actually a pretty much one-to-one change. I took out the Disabling Fang Fighters, which he has in the main deck. It might totally turn out that you need to have those Disabling Fang Fighters because there's going to be a lot of upgrades or shields or whatever it may be. However, I decided to take that out and put in Jedi Lightsaber instead. We have a decent amount of Force units, and even if we don't get those Force units out, putting a Lightsaber on R2-D2 isn't completely terrible either. So I decided to just swap it in. Now we are going to play this deck on Karabast, and on Karabast not all cards have been implemented yet. All the cards you see in the main deck should work perfectly fine on Karabast. However, Kylo Ren is a card that I want to put in a Rey deck just because it seems, obvious. That's something I want to do. But he is not implemented into Karabast yet, so his ability doesn't work. Therefore, he is currently sitting in the sideboard. Force Surrender is also in the sideboard, and I imagine this is something you swap in if you go into like a heavy control match. So you have even more hand discard tools. And the same for the other 2 copies of the Crate Dragon. Also going into those heavy control matchup that is bound to go very late into the game. You want to have those big guys coming down, and yes, your opponent can remove them, but you get to deal some damage along the way, yada yada. So in the main deck, we just include 1, and hope the rest of the units can do the job, and then in control matches, we can swap in to have 3 of them. Alright, but that's more or less what I have to say about the deck. Once again, I did not create this one, all of the honor goes to Thorrk. But let's head over to Karabast, play a few games, and show you the deck in action. Alright, and we're into game number 1, this time against a Boba Green, which is probably a good showcase of the deck and something that I also need to see, because obviously Boba Green is probably going to be one of the boogeymen of the early game meta for the new set. Alright, so let's see what we start off with here. Daring Raid probably doesn't do a whole lot for us in this matchup early on, a lot of shields, so that's not going to get through that. And then Takedown's probably good to hold on to. The Concord Dawn Intercept is probably good to hold on to. We could just completely go into space, but I also kind of want to place a bean, so I'm actually going to resource K2O. I'm not sure that's correct, but we'll give it a go. So he ends up playing the Greedo, we'll play the Green Squadron A-Wing, and just pass. If I had the initiative and I could place a bean first, I would have put her down, but Greedo just being able to take her out for free, I don't really like that too much. Let's see what he does here. He swings with the Greedo. I think we'll go ahead and play out the Sabine. I want to buff the Green Wing, but he could have something to bounce back to hand. So let's wait and see what he ends up doing. He goes for the ambush, alright. Well, we would have survived that with an experience token, but too little too late. We'll buff up Sabine and call it there. And hopefully he doesn't top deck a non-unit to deal that damage to us. We're getting all our discard cards in hand right now, which is a little bit too early, unfortunately. I think we end up giving up on a force throw for a resource, because I need the Concord Dawn Interceptors in the space arena. So yeah, I think he is probably... Oh no, he's going to ambush. Alright. That is okay. We'll just play out the Concord Dawn Interceptors. Block a little bit of damage in this arena, give it an experience token so it actually kills, or sorry, not kills, but can kill if I decide to hit him. He should probably just take initiative here, but we'll see what he decides to do. Yeah, I just took initiative, that's fine. I think I need to target down the Forlom. It doesn't feel great, but I kind of need to get rid of that, because otherwise he ends up getting a little bit too much damage on my base, a little bit too fast. Alright, well, we got all of our force throws in hand, but we haven't gotten a single force unit, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but that's okay. Don't cry over spilled milk. How do I do this? Because we could just kill off the 7th Fleet Defender. Honestly, I think we'll just do that, that's okay. We might end up giving him a way to just trigger Boba Fett's ability. He plays out Boba Fett just like that. He still has 5 resources. He could play Cunning to buff him up and kill Poe Dameron. It's a lot of things he could do here that would feel really bad for me. I think we still throw out the Poe Dameron just to try and threaten something. And hopefully he doesn't have a good answer to it. He plays the Succus. We just go ahead and claim initiative. Probably just gonna swing at base. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Honestly, not the greatest starting hand for us here. Or not starting hand, sorry. The cards we've been drawing. They haven't really been quite able to answer what he's going for. I need to attack with Poe into Boba now, because otherwise he just gets too much value for free with this. So yeah, we need Poe to go into Boba Fett. We would like to discard our... no, none of these options feel great. We need to discard the Green Squadron A-Wing. We'll deal 2 damage to Boba, make sure he dies. Do we want, nope, we don't want to do that. And then do we want to make him discard a card from hand? Honestly, we might as well do it. It feels a little bad, but I think we're gonna go for it. So, no, yes, no, we're not. We're gonna pass on that. We'll take out Boba Fett like so. Wow, 6 damage on my base takes me to 19. I'm in trouble. I am in trouble. So he went for that. We need to deploy Rey now, I believe. We could give out an experience token first. Does that put me behind in any way? I think I'm okay to give out an experience token first. We'll see if that comes back to bite me in the ass. Okay, ambush takes that out. That's fine. We deploy Rey. He's probably swinging at base, yeah. Alright, this is where it gets a little bit annoying. But there's no other way around it. We need Rey to swing into Succus. Give herself an experience token so she survives. Hopefully he doesn't have an answer. Nice, alright. Then we will go ahead and play Force Throw first and foremost. Our opponent. Yes. He throws away that. That's fine. We take out Greedo and we hope the Greedo doesn't trigger. Ah, damn, he got it. Alright. That's unfortunate, but that's fine. And then we take down Succus. And then we swing for 3. Yeah, we are not in an amazing spot right now, but there is still a chance to make it out of here. The Fett's Fire Spray is probably gonna come out pretty soon. We'll see if it's a little too late. So let's see what hopefully he plays something not big, and then we get to discard the 2 cards he has in hand. He plays Boba Fett, that's okay. We'll pillage, get rid of the rest of his cards in hand. All right, we got Cunning, and we got Fet's Fire Spray. Amazing, amazing. All right, so he claims initiative. We play out the Yoda. We'll hit for 3 there, and we'll pass. Oh, damn, we don't have a good answer to the Boba Fett, but we do get to heal 2 every time we swing with Yoda. Ah, damn, this is a hard one. Do we resource just to get the Crate Dragon online? I think we need to. I think we need to just resource this, and then we can get the Crate Dragon out next turn, and then maybe that ends up winning the game. Oh, boy. All right, so he's going to swing with for 6. He's going to exhaust, and that's going to be GG. Yeah, no, that was unfortunate. That was unfortunate, but I feel like this game could have been winnable. We just had a little bit of a poor drawing hand. We didn't really get any of our medium units, no Kanans. Just the 1 Poe Dameron, the K2SO we had in starting hand, but resourced. Yeah, no, if you look at the resources, it was all the cheap units, and we still didn't really draw anything big, so not much we can do about that. So it is. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But again, I don't think this was like a completely stomp, or like a game that was completely unwinnable. So let's hit into another one and see if we can do a little bit better. All right, and we're into game number 2, this time against Leia, which I have not seen at all in my set 2 testing here on Karabast. It's weird when I record these videos, I end up playing against a lot of stuff that I haven't played against before. So what do we want to do here? We have the Regional Governor, we have Sabine, both are great. Daring Raid might be okay against Leia. Let's try and keep this. I'm not sure it's correct, but let's try and keep it. I feel like we have a little bit too much of the early game here, but we will give it a go. Oh, and yeah, I of course show games that I lose as well. I am not a perfect player, and even though I lose, doesn't mean the deck is bad, just that I'm bad, you know? So don't take it as a sign of the deck being completely horrible just because I didn't do good enough. So he plays the Alliance X-Wing. We could either play the Regional Governor and say Green Wing, Wing Leader, or the Base Defender. Those are all like decent options that she's most likely going to be using. And I think I don't hate that play. So let's go ahead and say Wing Leader, because Space Arena is something that I have a hard time dealing with. So if he starts buffing up the Alliance X-Wing, that is going to be rough for me. Yeah, he knew. Oh yeah, he called it out in chat. Boo. He was definitely going for that play. All right, that is as what I'm saying. Regional Governor is just, if you know what your opponent is most likely playing, it is just such a strong card. Redemption is going to be a nice card for me this game if we make it this far, but it's too early to draw that one and hold on to it, so we'll just resource it for now. He swings into my base. I can buff, or I can play something. I think we shall start off by playing something. Yeah, we'll play off something here. If he goes to the Echo Base Defender, it's a little bit bad for us because I can't really hit that for free. He doesn't go for that. He goes for the Sabine Wren. I should probably just go ahead and deal with Sabine as fast as possible. So we will go ahead and Daring Raid her for 2. You're probably going to take initiative here. Maybe Medal Ceremony just to get +1/+1 on the Alliance X-Wing. Nope, that's the initiative. That's fine. We'll swing with the Regional Governor to remove her, and then we'll pass. And we're starting to build up our ground arena now. We're keeping his ground arena empty. Obviously, there's the Alliance X-Wing, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and resource. Oh, this is a hard one again. I think we're going to be playing pretty much on curve for the rest of our turns now. It's either Open Fire or Forced Throw. I really like Pillage to reduce his hand. I think it is going to be Forced Throw for now, because I think the Open Fire might be needed for hitting his ground units here. I think I'm pretty okay with just throwing down K2SO and having that ready for now. He doesn't have anything on the board. Depending on what he plays, yeah, Sabine can take care of that one. That's fine. All right, takes initiative again. We'll use... Oh, nope, we'll not use that because we don't have any resources. He took initiative. We'll just swing for 1 and pass. So he probably still has that Wing Leader in hand, ready to buff the Alliance X-Wing, so I might just Open Fire it here. We go to 5 resources, which means that we probably just get rid of... Oh, this is hard. Leia's coming down. 3/6. We can swing with that for 4. 2 lives left. And takedown kills it. Let's go ahead and throw away. Let's throw away Open Fire. I want to use the open fire on the Alliance X-Wing, but really, that's not something I can do. He plays out the Echo Base Defender. We can either Tarkin Town and swing with Regional Governor Tarkin Town, or we can just take it down now. I think we just take it down now. That's fine. Leia's probably going to come out now. He'll swing with Leia. He'll swing with the Alliance X-Wing. Next turn, we can deploy Rey. We can use Fourth Throw to hopefully take care of her. Yep, there comes the Leia. We'll swing into Leia for 4 there to get her down. Let's see, he's probably just going for base. Oh no, he actually went for the... okay, he's going for the wing leader play on Leia Organa, most likely, but I'm still going to be able to kill her. I'm just going to claim initiative. Maybe he's just buffing up the Alliance X-Wing with the wing leader. Oh wait, wing leader is a free cost. Why would he go for the trade? That's a little bit interesting. Okay, Daring Raid right now can ping off Leia Organa. However, we could also just use K2SO to kill that off. Deploy Rey, Fourth Throw, Pillage. That sounds pretty good, but that of course means that we need to resource Luke Skywalker, which does not sound good at all. So I think we end up resourcing the Daring Raid. We'll take care of Leia with K2SO. We'll make him discard a card from his hand with K2SO. We'll say discard. We don't need the damage on the base. We want to get rid of cards in your hand so you have less options. Let's see, alright, it threw out away a Heroic Sacrifice. I see. Now, depending on what he plays at 6 resources, I'm either going to pillage or deploy Rey. Whatever seems to give me the best chance. Yeah, he plays a 2 cost. That's perfect. We'll pillage, get rid of the 2 cards in his hand. So now we know what we're dealing with. There's absolutely nothing surprising coming in. Yeah, you only have 2 cards to discard. So, I mean, the option shouldn't be that hard. But I guess he's just reading the card and figuring out what's happening. Nice, we hit Wing Leader and we hit for a cause I believe in. That's very good. We'll deploy Rey. Claim initiative, that's fine. We'll swing with Rey into the Rebel Pathfinder, buff ourselves, and heal for 3. We could play Force Throw, but like I'm not gonna throw away Luke Skywalker to kill the Alliance X-Wing right now, so we'll just keep that there. And yeah, we've basically more or less stabilized the game now. I'm gonna be greedy and throw away the Concord Dawn. So we can just kill off the X-Wing if we want to. Let's swing with Rey first to see what he does. We'll heal 3, so we're healing for more damage that he's dealing right now. If he plays something to remove Rey, we get to swing with Luke Skywalker. No. Let's take a chance here. Let's take a chance and just use Force Throw on my opponent. What you got in hand, buddy? Alright, so we'll deal 3 damage to K2SO. We'll use Tarkin Town. Playing Luke would probably have been the better thing all in all, and getting just Luke on the board, because right now we have 6 resources and nothing to spend them on, but I think this is okay. He's choosing to discard 1, that's fine, we'll discard 1 Luke Skywalker, and then we will pass. Alright, and then from here, I think the game is more or less over. We are absolutely in the driver's seat. We will deploy Luke, and we'll just kill off the Echo Base Defender. We now have 2 Restore 3 units on the board, so we're healing 6 every single turn, and there's not really a whole lot our opponent can do about it. We'll go ahead and resource Yoda. I think we'll really put the nail in the coffin, and we'll simply play out the Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, you're calling GG. I say GG's. And yeah, I think that was a pretty good showcase of the deck. Thank you, but I can't take credit. Check out Thorrk. I think this was a pretty good showcase of how the deck plays. This was against Acro, obviously. But yeah, you basically you stabilize in the ground arena and you keep the space arena busy with removal, with blockers, sentinels, all that stuff. And then once you get to that mid-late game, you have all these really strong units on the board that is pretty hard for your opponents to deal with. You're using Rey's ability to buff up those early game units, and then you use this card to make the game basically unplayable for your opponent. You can stop at 9 resources because Crate Dragon is your biggest unit, and at this point in the game, you should usually have enough resources to play 1 or 2 cards. 2 cards. So in general, you can stop at 9 resources, and then call it there. But yeah, I think that was a pretty good showcase. This was obviously against basically an unchanged version of Leia Red. Leia Red didn't get a ton of new cards added. So it was basically just a showcase of being able to at least play against Leia Red, not Rhea Led. And I think that's pretty good, right? You know, Leia wasn't a top tier deck, but was pretty good. So I think that showcases at least that this deck got something going for it. Let's go ahead and find another match for us to play. And we're into game 3 against Han Red. Our starting hand is not terrible. I might have wanted to see a Regional Governor in here, but let's try and keep this hand and take it from there. Regional Governor against Han is something I think will be very good because you can name K2SO and they can no longer play that on turn 1, which is one of the plays that they usually go for. However, Sabine Wren is also very good in this matchup because he deals damage to his own unit, so Sabine can sometimes just ping for 1 and then trade for free that way. You can also use Target Town, which is also really good. Lots of different options for dealing with the bigger units coming out earlier. He ends up just passing first turn. All right, interesting. Let's see what he is cooking. Let's hold on to, or rather get rid of the Force Throw. It's a really good card, but it's a bit too early for us right now, and the other cards seem a little bit more needed in this matchup. What does he play out? He puts out the Ambushed Modded Core Cohort. That was all right. I mean, okay, that doesn't seem like the greatest play for him, but you know, that's fine. He's going to claim initiative now. I'm going to buff up the Green Wing. We'll pass. Yeah, the reason why I don't think I mean, did he not have another, maybe he didn't have another answer for it. It just didn't seem like the greatest play to go for there. Let us, for now, actually divert over into the Space Arena. I don't think this deck really has a good option of dealing with a 2/4. So if we can put down a Concord Dawn Interceptors and then start buffing up the Green Wing, it becomes very hard for him to deal with it. That is, however, a very scary card. Can't do much about that at the moment. We'll just put out the Concord Dawn Interceptors. And we'll buff up the Green Wing. We'll swing with the Green Wing. And now comes the thing if whether or not we should use Target Town now to take this down to just 1 HP. And then if we top deck Daring Raid, we can kill it off. That might not be terrible. I think I will go for it now since it's basically a free action since he's already claimed initiative. Let's try and do that. We could also play Yoda into Force Throw. If he doesn't kill off Yoda somehow, we'll resource the Redemption. Yeah, I actually quite like that. Let's try and get Yoda on the board. He might just swing with Poe right away though. So we might just have to eat those 6 damage. That's okay. Let's see what he chooses for discarding. He chose 1 to deal 2 to something. What is he dealing to base? All right, he's just going straight for the face. That might also be the way to go for him. Now, does he want to discard another one to defeat an upgrade? Yeah, he did. All right. So he might just remove an XP token over here. Then finally, does he want me to discard a card? I don't hope he will, but maybe he will. No, he did not. All right. Still 5 resources. I kind of want him to spend some of those cards before I do the Force Throw because he's going to hold on to his valuable cards. So let's go ahead and swing with the Green Wing for now. Or maybe we'll just swing with the Concord Interceptors just to like chill out and see what's going on over there. He's deploying Han. Nope, there goes Wrecker. All right, I think it was a good thing we waited. Otherwise, he would be able to just take out Yoda. He can still deploy Han. We'll play Yoda out now because we do get to play this card before he swings with before he swings with Han. He doesn't deploy Han. Okay. Let's go ahead and Force Throw. This is a hard one. You know, we're guaranteed to kill this, and then maybe we can kill that. I'll choose my opponent. And we'll see if we get lucky. What is he going for? He threw away Spark of Hope, just a 2 cost. All right. Not exactly what I wanted, but we'll kill off Poe. That's okay. We will buff up... do we buff up the Yoda? No, I think we just buff up the Green Wing. We swing with the Green Wing, and we pass. All right, Wrecker on the board. Pretty damn scary. Let's resource one of those. He's going to ECL. Ooh, the K2SO. All right, very good. Oh, that was perfect. That was just perfect. That was beautiful. He killed off the Yoda. We get the takedown, get to take out Wrecker. That is huge for us. Absolutely huge, because I now get to deploy Rey. He's going for that first. That's fine. I don't believe he has any way of dealing with Rey when I put her down. I'm going to hope that is the case. We'll deploy Rey. He should probably punch Rey. He doesn't. Okay, interesting. So we'll swing into K2SO. We'll give ourselves an experience token. He's going to go for damage on base. I can already tell. Yep, I got this guy figured out. All right. We'll play the Regional Governor. We'll say K2. We don't want any more of those K2s coming out. And then we'll swing at base. He's at 17, I'm at 11. I have Luke Skywalker in hand, so even if he kills Rey, I get to put down Luke, and I get to probably take out whatever he has on board. Here's the Jedi lightsaber, and in theory, it's great, but it's also probably a little bit too late. Then again, I think the game will be over before we play Crate Dragon, so let's resource Crate Dragon and hold on to that lightsaber, see if we get a chance to use it. He's probably just going to kill off Rey here, or use his ability on Han. What is he going for? He's playing out the Reinforcement Walker to heal himself a little bit. Okay. We have a few ways of doing this. I think the correct choice is actually Jedi lightsaber. I could also just ram Rey into the Reinforcement Walker and then, Reinforcement Walker or Han Solo, and then use Luke to come down and finish. But I think the correct choice here is actually to Jedi lightsaber Rey. He doesn't have any resources. There's no way for him to deal with Rey right now. He claims initiative. He doesn't even attack. Why would he do that? Well, what's going on here? What is going on here? Okay. Well, we have a few options here, and never mind. GG's. I was about to say that we have a few options of dealing with this, and I think any way we do it will be fine. But I guess he just decided to call it there. Right, so that was 3 games with Thorrek's Rey deck. First game against the Boba deck obviously didn't go so well, but the 2 other games I think really showcased how the deck plays and how it can work out, and I think it's really good. Let's talk a little bit more about that before we finish the video. Alright, so that was a showcase of Thorrek's Rey deck with some minor modifications made by myself. Those modifications being throwing out the disabling Fang Fighters in the sideboard and putting in the Jedi lightsaber in the main board. But otherwise, yeah, I really like this deck, and I'm very happy someone made a Rey deck that seems to work. As I said at the beginning of the video, I tried myself to make like a Rey deck, and I just couldn't quite figure out how to make it work without it being, why wouldn't I just play Luke instead? But yeah, I think this deck is really cool and very fun to play. Once again, check out Thorrek and give him the credit because he deserves it. I don't. A few things that I thought about now that I've played this deck a couple of times. First and foremost, Daring Raid is one of those cards that is probably going into my resource pile in like 8 out of 10 games, but we did have that one game where I got to ping with Daring Raid and then swing with the regional governor to kill off a Sabine, I believe. And that was really cool and pretty nice for me because I didn't have any other way of dealing with that Sabine. Who knows if Wing Leader would have come out and buffed it, or I don't even remember if that was against the Leia deck. But it is nice when you need it. But probably quite often you're not going to need it. There's also the one copy of Open Fire. There was that one game against Leia where I wanted to use it on the Alliance X-Wing. But quite frankly, I feel like your units are a lot of the removal you need. Again, your space arena is a little bit empty until you start putting out those Green Wings and Concord Dorn Interceptors. And you are relying on your removal cards to take care of the space arena. My question might be whether or not you just take out the Open Fire and put in another takedown. Granted, takedown is of course limited to only hitting something with 5 or less HP, whereas Open Fire can just be used to deal 4 damage, and you can then follow up with Targentown to deal 3 additional damage, and that might be the whole point. But then again, you could also, use Daring Raid, Targentown, Takedown. I guess that's a lot of card usage just to kill something. In any case, that's just something that I've noticed over the games that I've played. Poe Dameron is obviously a good card. He's maybe not as good as I thought he was. Still really good. Actually, no, I take that back. Poe is good. Even if you just use him as a 5-cost 6/6, that's just still really good. 5-cost 6/6 comes down and potentially has an upside on attack if you decide to do so. He's a pretty good curve filler, because your other choices at 5 resources is like playing, a Yoda and then buffing him, or buffing a Green Wing Squadron and then playing Kanan. But you probably already played a Kanan on turn 4 or on 4 resources, or a K2SO on 4 resources. So at the very least, he's a good curve filler, just to put a big unit on the board on 5 resources and have him be a threat. Obi-Wan is also another card where I'm like, when he works, he's just great. And when I say when he works, I mean like when you deploy Rey and you play Obi-Wan, or you play Obi-Wan and then you deploy Rey and then Obi-Wan dies and you get experience tokens on Rey. When that works, that's cool. That's awesome. But it's probably also one of those where when you have it and it works, it's great. But there's just not a ton of situations where I play the Obi-Wan and then deploy Rey. It's more likely that I play Rey, and then I play Pillage to remove some cards, and then I play Fourth Throw, and those things are something that have happened more in my games, but maybe it's just, the games that I've been playing and the games that you play or someone else play, Obi-Wan ends up being like a key part of staying alive or buffing up a unit to make sure they can finish the game. That might be the case. Other than that, I feel like every card in the deck serves its purpose. Redemption I didn't use in any of the games, and Crate Dragon I didn't use either, but again, those are for the control matches more. Well, Redemption is a little bit, you can get to 8 resources in the mid-range game as well and then heal up and take it from there. But they are going to be less useful in general, but very useful when the situation calls for it. Luke Skywalker is a great card. Rivals Fall, not something I ended up using today, but also, you just need to kill, say, a Crate Dragon. Rivals Fall, kill that, yeah, you take some damage, but still, it's off the board. I'm always a little bit very scared about using 25 HP bases. I'm personally not a big fan of 25 HP bases, but for this deck, it works great. Again, you have these chunky units who has a lot of health, but maybe not a lot of damage early on. Hit something with that, then target town to kill it off, clear the board, stay in control, and that's a really good combo. Alright, and with that, I think we can finish off this video. Once again, check out Thorrk and his video to learn more about the deck. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and until I see you again, I hope you have a wonderful time.